Ja, we start in 3 minutes, coach.
Ja.
Watch party
We don't push our luck, dude. Oh, watch party next week.
for the city.
No, I think Sundowns would make a shoot, yeah.
I'm going to sit in this afternoon's Zoom, USC Zoom thing with Andra.
That's fine. That's fine.
And obviously I'll come tomorrow for the practice.
Oh, you're going to come through. Cool.
Thanks.
That's fine.
It's a nice...
Lekker.
quite a few different places.
By all means.
I was looking for Jimmy if he's here, but I see he's gone.
Oh, he was.
Can get us some water.
Dat was een netjes hoor. I can shoot them.
So I think I've seen that was not that.
I'll phone him quickly.
Morning, Clinton.
Hey, how's it? Ken, you all right?
Yeah, good man. Your mics are on, by the way, just in case you
Okay.
give away the team selection or tactics or anything.
Why'd you tell him, Ken? Why'd you tell him?
Always someone that ruins it.
Sorry, guys.
Hey, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome from Loftus Versfeld. So we're gonna put up Coach Johan Ackerman ahead of next weekend's Vodacom URC final. Just to note, guys, what we'll do firstly, we'll accommodate the media who are in the room, followed by media online. We'll do it sequentially. So if you put up your hands, we'll go in that order. Thanks very much. So it's my pleasure to welcome Vodacom Bulls coach Johan Ackerman.
Like Rexia.
Okay, let's just change it up.
Azay, good day, everyone. Azay.
Yeah, maybe just to start, we did ask you after Saturday, no injuries, everybody fit and ready for next week?
Yeah, it looks good. Like Kobus, it looks good. Like we got through the game. There's like one or two guys that's got a bit sore, like Marcel had a little bit of sore shoulder and Ulrich a little bit of a sore foot and so on, but nothing that the doctor is concerned about. Looks like everybody that played on the weekend will be ready to go by next Friday.
If you look, obviously, you did take the game and review afterwards. What is the biggest work-ons this week leading up to the final?
I think our set piece defense, just get clarity there on our roles, and then I still think our one-on-one tackle is not where it has to be. It got better as the game progressed, but again, you don't want to chase 21-3 in every game, so that has to be better. And then for the first time this season, we were just a little bit slow in our breakdown in that first half. They got a few turnovers there, so we never could build pressure on them, momentum, until late in that 30th minute when we started to get a few penalties and and then eventually Grobby scored. So we just have to look after our breakdown better. The ball, the first line out, we knocked the ball on our first possession. So that looking after the ball and then our first phase defense.
Johan, the first time I met you was when you were introduced to us, Dan, and one of the things you said when we asked you what would your successful season look like, and you said the Bulls have been in the final almost every year. They have to be in the final. That will be a successful year. It's not actually happened. Is it not sort of a dream come true, or is it always a faith that it's going to happen?
Yeah, MV, I think, like I said, sometimes every team, when the season kicks off, every team say they want to play in the final, or every team, that's probably the ultimate goal. For me personally, I knew that taking account the history of this place and how passionate the supporters are, is that if we don't get to the final, there will be a lot of questions asked, especially if we don't get to even the playoffs. So I knew that pressure is on, but like I also said, that the most important thing for me is to start building on a culture and a philosophy and of how I see rugby, because I do believe that rugby is great and we're all very, very passionate about it. But there is a bigger picture outside of that, is the culture and the way when players go, let me say, go through this, the team, how do they leave this team? I still think we've got the obligation to see where we can make a positive change and input into their lives. But now we're in the final, and now obviously one is very grateful that the season turned out this way, and it's just a great blessing, and I'm thankful to the Lord for giving us this opportunity. And obviously, it's not me, there's so many people that is behind the scenes that make this possible. So I can just thank everybody.
Can I just ask you something? I've spoken to a couple of your players in the team at the moment, and something that struck me, the one word that they all use when they're describing the experience of the Bulls, especially under you as a coach, was gratitude. Can you talk to me about that?
Yeah, it's one of our values. Gratitude is our first value of our 5 values, and I say to for me, it's important that we understand that it's a privilege to be here. It's a privilege to be at the Bulls specifically. Then obviously to be part of the game rugby. We must be thankful that we can inspire people through what we do. We can earn an income. You're healthy. If you are not healthy, you can't play this game. That you make friendships, that you can belong to someone, and that your family has put in a lot of time for you to live your dream, and there's always somebody that sacrificed something. So for me, it starts with gratitude, and it's not your right. You're not entitled to be here, but to get up in the morning and to come to work and to call this work, it's a great privilege. So that's why it's so important for me, and I'm so glad that the players and everybody feels the same. So it's a great privilege.
Thanks, Candiso.
You are speaking of turnarounds. Did you, obviously, at any point in the season, think you'd be here, considering that there was good scenes such as the Bulls winning games and matches?
It was tough mentally to think, how we're going to get out of the hole, although you keep on believing. And, I kept on asking, obviously, in my private time, how are we going to get out of this and so on. But there I can also just, again, credit the people around me was always in the mornings positive. The players always came out with good energy to train. So I think at one stage you didn't think about anything than just to qualify, just to get into the playoffs. I think that was probably at one stage the main target. As the season progressed, then the talks of having a home quarterfinal started to materialize, and then we take it from there. But I think if you remember back, I always said that if we can turn it around and we can just get into the playoffs, I believe the team can can beat anybody. But no, I won't lie. There was times that you start doubting if we're going to, turn things around.
And what did this what was it that was said or done amongst you and the players that made you win on?
No, sometimes, you have to go through the desert, before you get to the reward. So as a man of faith, I'm going to always believe that everything works out for the good. That's where it personally starts for me. I won't have the answers and I need to trust, but when I come in the mornings, I've got the obligation to lead and to get the atmosphere where the players can still be valued and enjoy what they do. And that was my motivation. But I think the real spark was, credit to Neil, who came in and brought in new energy and a new excitement as well. And then, I think the spark was the fact that the players kept believing in the plans that we want to implement. The culture started to form, our values started to get more practical. And then that PO game, for me, that PO game stands out. When we got over the line there, I saw a team really start, just believing in what we want to do. So for me, that stood out.
Thank you. We'll switch to online media, and first up is Nathan. Thank you, go for Nathan.
Thank you very much, Clint. Good day, Coach Akis. I'm not sure if this has been asked already, but will you be consulting with the URC officials? We know sometimes, or during the course of the season, sometimes the laws have been interpreted differently in different games and so forth. But will you be having a consultation with the URC officials for the final?
No, Nathan, not at all. I'm not a believer. I don't talk to the referees before a game or after the game, unless we walk past each other, and then I will greet them and thank them for the game, or vice versa, wish them well for the game. During the season, we obviously will send a few clips of that we question and just want clarity after a game before you play the next game. There's that interaction where you maybe ask one of the referee managers to give us feedback, but we still waiting to see who's going to be appointed, and then every ref has got certain things they probably a little bit more stricter on, if that's the word, how they referee, how they see the game, and we will try and adjust to that. But we probably would have dealt with the referee, if that makes sense, during the season some way. I think we had most of the referees reffing us during the season. So, and everybody's in the same. It's not like we're going to get an English referee, if that makes sense, from the English Premiership, or it's not like we're going to get a French referee like when you play in Europe. We're going to get a URC referee. It can't be a South African and it can't be an Irishman. We know that. So it's going to be a Scot or Wales or somebody like that, or Italian. So we're quite comfortable, and we'll deal with it once we get to the game.
Awesome, thank you.
Thanks, Chris. Very early morning for you. Take care. Just make sure they hang the sack.
Hello?
So you're there. Your hand is up.
Oh, sorry, I couldn't hear you. You're echoing back there. Hey, Coach, congratulations. It was an inauspicious start this season, but boy, the Bulls have come a long way here and have really gelled, and the team that are peaking right now. 4 out of 5 times in the URC final, always the bridesmaid, never the bride. Let's hope this is the time it changes. But my question to you is that last week, building momentum late in the game, the Stormers had Leinster under the pump at Aviva when their discipline let them down with 11 minutes left and things went wonky on them. In the past few years, a lot of times when the Bulls have struggled, it's been their discipline that's let them down. Is this something you're concerned about, or you're taking a look at as we approach this? And good luck with the final. Let's see if the Bulls can bring it home this time.
Yes, thanks, Chris, for your question. It is definitely something that we will highlight to the players, that the discipline is important. We failed that test on Saturday against Glasgow. If you look at the first half with the 2 yellow cards, So, and we gave them that lead of 21-3. If you analyze Leinster, they probably win every game that they start fast and get a good lead. So we can't afford that discipline, either in the start of the game or at the back end of the game, especially if it's like in the Stormers, a 5-point game, or in our game, a 1-point game. So it's something we need to make sure we get right in this final to give ourselves a chance, Chris. And it's unnecessary to put yourself under that, because we all know what the laws say regarding tackle. So let's try and stay in that law. And then obviously we know that most of times, even if you go for the intercept, if you don't get it, they're probably going to go the other way and pin you for a slap down. So it's just to stay into the law, and that will be our aim. And hopefully, with so much at stake and the high pressure and a bit of emotion involved, we can keep calm and have good discipline.
Thanks, Coach. Best of luck.
Thanks, Chris.
I think we're scared Ken off, so in the intro we'll chat to you, Nicholas.
Sorry, is it my turn?
Yes.
Okay, sorry. It's a bit difficult to hear. Coach, you weren't with the Bulls last year, but they were on a similar winning streak going into that final. I don't know if you chatted to some of the players who were there against Leinster last year. Is there a different feeling? Is there more belief than there was then? You guys have come through a lot of adversity this season.
Yeah, I think there's a few positives that we can take out, Nicholas, like, the fact that in the last couple of games, we started well, and then we let the lead slip, and then we had to fight again. And then obviously the reverse was we started badly against Glasgow, and we could have dug ourselves out of that hole. So I think there was a good build-up that we can recover if the momentum is not going our way, either by us giving away a lead or chasing a deficit. But ultimately, it's going to boil down to 80 minutes, nothing before the history, the past, last season. Whatever we did against any other game is going to count. I think Chris asked about discipline. Discipline is going to be massive. Our set piece, they strive. They score the most tries from line out. So our defense from line outs, all those things just has to be on par and give ourselves a chance. Like the Stormers, they clawed their way back and they gave themselves a chance. But so we just have to do that. Obviously, I will speak to the players. I have spoken to the players on the airport on our way back. They have highlighted a few things that they feel probably could have been part of the reason why they didn't fire in the final. Again, I'm a big believer of keeping things simple. Do what you control and know what you know. Like, we're not going to change our build-up, our training volume and our training times, etc. We're going to keep it as simple, but I will take note of those things that they've mentioned, and hopefully we can get it right for them to be ready to put in a good performance.
Right. So the past is the past, but you do take what you can from that game. Just one thing, you do have 5 Springboks available now who weren't available that year. Gerard Steenkamp, Curly Arendse, Pollard, Ulrich Lowe, and Cameron Hanekom. Do you think those guys could make a difference this season? And do you expect Andre to bounce back from that semi-final?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, it's always good to have as close as possible to full strength teams, and like you said, every season there's 1 or 2 players always coming in or leaving a team. Like we'll if we had to play in the final next year, we will definitely be a different team, because we know that some players are leaving. But similar to last season, there's players that's not involved, that is involved, and players. But again, Nicholas, I think it's about, we're going to put a plan in place, and it's for us to execute that plan. We know, like Sebastian and David had certain strengths. They're not available. So we're just going to use the other strengths of the players. And that's the similar, again, if we got those players that you've mentioned involved in the game, hopefully they can play to their strengths and add to what we need and what we want to do. So we're going to just prepare as well as we can, and hopefully those players you've mentioned will be a massive part of the contribution of the night's result.
Thank you and all the best.
Thanks, eh?
Hi, Brendan.
How's it, Dockers? The one thing about Leinster and Dobbo also mentioned that going into them, they team that really starts fast. I think they saying 9 or 10 points in their first 20 minutes that they always score. You've had this the last week, but how much of a factor is that in your planning and making sure that you don't give them that fast start?
Hi, Brendan. No, you're 100% right. That's one stat that stands out when you look at the stats, is that they score a lot of points in that first 20 minutes. So we are aware of it. We need to deal with it better than what we dealt against Glasgow, because we also knew Glasgow start always well. But sometimes things don't go as well as you planned. So we just have to be able to deal with all the scenarios. One of our big things this season that we worked on was to be an adaptable team, and for whatever scenario comes, and hopefully we can do that again in the final. But the reality is they are a quality team. I think last year, correct me if I'm wrong, but they were leading 19-0 against the Bulls also after 20 minutes, and then you always fight the scoreboard, the pressure that's on the game, and now you have to do sometimes things out of the box. So that's the problem if you concede early points too quickly against a team like that is defensively very strong. How do you get that points back? So we all aware of it, but it's on the day. We can talk about it as much as we like, and I'm sure Dobbo and them were also aware of it, and yet they conceded those points. So we're all aware of it, but it's the challenge to keep them out. So hopefully we can do that.
Thanks. Last question from me. Just I'm going to ask it this week rather not this week than next week. The one thing you and the Bulls have got a lot in common now, because you guys know how things can go wrong in a final. You've been in enough of them to know that it doesn't always go your way and things you can't plan for. What has all that taught you in the last sort of time in your coaching career going into this week? What would you be doing differently?
Well, the first thing is that we hope it's not going to be a storm like the 2016 Hurricane final. It was literally a storm that obviously didn't suit our game. And then 2017 won a red card. That's always going to have an impact in your plans. So if we can get a good night there in Ireland, and we can we just said start well and have our discipline sorted out. Hopefully, we can stay in the arm wrestle and then play to our strengths. But Brendan, like I said, I've discussed it with some players. They highlighted a few things building up to the game, what they thought probably caused them to start that badly, and we looked at our week now with Glasgow again and see what was the reason, and we will work on those things that we control, and make sure that hopefully we won't be off the mark again. But I'm a believer that if everything has worked for you during the season, like let's say as a player you've jumped at certain days and you trained a certain way and you pushed yourself a certain way. The moment you start over-analyzing stuff and you start pulling back, what did you do for 16 rounds that work? Why will you change it for a final? So we're going to keep it as simple as possible. We've got a plan in place to make sure we deal with the traveling, and then we're ready to go.
Thanks, Marcus. Good luck.
Thank you.
All right, Leighton, thanks for waiting on time.
Thank you, Clinton. Hello, Johan. I hope all is well your side. Just quickly tapping on what's happening across the Jukskei there in Johannesburg, and how have you kept your players sheltered from that BOK training that's happening? We know quite a number of guys have been pushing to crack a nod for the Boks again this season. But have you chatted to them not to worry about that for now? Let's focus on our final.
Hi, Leighton. Yeah, yes, I will be surprised if our players think about that. To be fair, the the talks that I had and the smiles I see on the faces and the energy I feel from the players is all building up to the final. You know, there's only one thing on their mind, and that's the final. I don't think there's any player that think that you know, they're missing an opportunity not to play for the Boks. I think Rassie is quite clear on with every player. So I think every player that is in his plans will already know that, and it's not something that they can control. What will actually help is a good performance. I think that will even help them further. You know, those games is probably organized in advance to give some guys game time who hasn't played for a couple of weeks, but it's out of our hands. So my expectation will be that our players, it's not something we have to address. My expectation will be that they fully committed, and I know they are for this final.
Thank you. And then just lastly, Dabo mentioned after the game that he feels the set piece wise they were on top of Leinster. He feels you guys will most likely do the same, but he's then warned you against Leinster's attack. Have you exchanged a bit of notes with him after that semi, or have you read what he said about that?
No, I obviously just heard these comments, and you know, it's valid points, you know, but the one thing I can just testify is as a player that played in finals of Super Rugby and semi-finals, where you think you're strong and you start to get arrogant, that's when you at a dangerous ground. So again, you know, my expectation is that we will not think that we got any ascendancy, but rather go and work for that. You know, let's go and earn what we want to get. So yeah, so for me, they've got a quality. They've got I think 1% or 2% higher liner than us, similar scrum, and they score a lot of tries from set piece. So we must go match that, and if we get ascendancy, so be it. But it's not something that I'm gonna you know get carried away about. And then on the other side, Leighton, I know they got a good attack. We all know that. So we have to be much better than we have been this whole season if we want to have any chance.
Baie dankie.
Dankie.
Back again, Mike Ken.
Thanks, Clinton. How's it going? Same two teams, same place as last year's final. Obviously, you weren't involved, but after the final, the players were told that they just weren't good enough to go on about since that point, changing that narrative.
Again, you were breaking up. Hi, Ken, you're breaking up a little bit, but I think I've got the hang of your question about not good enough. I think I look at the squad every week when we got team gatherings, and I told the squad from the beginning, you know, I do believe we've got the talent and the team to win this trophy. And now, after many months of rugby, you know, we're there and we've got the shot. So yeah, so all I say is we've got a shot, and if you ask me, do I believe we can win? And I'm going to say yes, and hopefully that will answer your question.
Thank you. Good luck.
Thank you.
Cheers, Chris. You're number 2.
Hey, thanks a lot, Coach. Appreciate Clinton, the second bite of the apple. I'm up at 4 a.m. to cover this, so I really appreciate it, guys. But listen, playing the Irish national side, Leinster, is always a challenge, especially in Dublin. And there really are no holes in their lineup. But James Lowe was uncharacteristically quiet for 70 minutes against the Lions before he scored those 2 tries and set the record for Leinster. And he was virtually unheard of against the Stormers. This is a guy you can't keep quiet forever. At home, possibly his last game at Leinster, although I think he'll probably resign, but there's talk of him leaving. He may be hungry to extend that record try total in yet another final. Look, I'm not asking you for giveaway secrets about what you're doing, but are there any concerns about James Lowe maybe breaking out, and is the coaching staff keeping an eye on him?
No, Chris, first of all, I think he's a quality player. You know, he's got the neck of finishing amazing tries, and you know, he's got the all-round game. He's strong. Do always, you know, a little bit things out of the box. So we have to contain him. I think the bigger concern is that, you know, obviously that will be a part that he wants to show us, you know, or show the world, you know, his final game, and have a massive contribution to a team that open up a lot of doors for him. So I think it's just extra motivation for him personally to put in a good performance. But I'm always nervous when it comes to those things. You know, my own experience in the past playing and also now coaching, every time you make a big hoo-ha of something, it goes the other way. Because that's why we didn't make a big thing of Grobby's 150th the weekend and so on. So, so, you know, I can just say congratulations to what he's achieved, but hopefully he hasn't got the greatest of finals against us.
Well, Coach, I share that sentiment with you. Congratulations, James Lowe, on setting a record. Let's hope it ends there and the Bulls bring home a win. Good luck.
Thanks, Chris.
Thanks, everyone. If we have no more questions, we'll end it there, and we'll pick it up again next week. I'll send out alerts to that effect. Thanks very much.
Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.
Can I just ask you one last question?
Thanks, Jan. All the best. Thanks, Clinton.
Cheers, guys.